Yo, doing your dad's accent makes me think of that video. Like the dude's like he's talking to like a Jamaican guy and asking him things, and he's like, "Sir, your skull is cracked. Me go home and put warm water on it." And he's like, "No, no, sir, you need surgery. Me what? I need what?
You
Surgery?
don't.
No." He's like, "No, sir, sir, you need surgery."
Yo, you
He's like,
out
"Me
of
no want no
pocket.
surgery."
You out of pocket. You out of
And I'm
pocket.
like, bro,
All
it's hilarious.
right. All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Let's Be Real podcast. As you know, my name is Dunk, aka the Real Kid,
And I am Jared, aka Ragnarok.
and today we're gonna be talking about the money. Right. So, in regards to money and things like that, today you dumb as hell. Today we're just gonna be talking about like our personal experience with finance, our journeys through finance, the myths about finance that our parents probably taught us, things about the stock market, things about forex, things about credit, basically all those things in which you can put yourself in a better situation, but also to make sure that you kind of don't teach your kids the same thing your parents taught you in case your parents taught you the wrong things. Shout out to John right here. How's it going? How's it going? I'm good. I'm good. As you see, we got the episode started. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be talking about our journeys and all. So definitely going to be mentioning your name. Uh, so first things first. Let's see. Let's get into the reason why we should all try to be more financially secure, right? So compared to back in our parents' days, again, back in our parents' days, everything was affordable at a lower rate, of course, and that's what the reason why it's expensive now is due to inflation over the years, and you can kind of blame that on the gold standard being revoked, kind of, sort of, maybe, almost, certainly. But it's just the fact that the living wage has grown exponentially while the minimum wage, which was once the minimum of living, right? That has remained steadily the same, like as time went on, right? If you were to pull up a graph, living wage went straight up, while minimum wage went and basically
Or living cost, probably is a
living
better way
costs.
to.
That's what it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Or cost of living,
cost of living. That's what it is. So
versus minimum wage.
there you go. There you go. So one of the biggest issues, of course, and the people like to blame it on the capitalism that we have in this country, where basically everything is for profit. Everybody loves profit, everything like that. So you tend to the workers tend to not make as much money as the company grows over time. So the company tends to keep more and more and more of the profit as time goes on. And as living wages or cost of living goes up, those wages do not change because companies are more looking at profit.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's the deficit's just gone up over the years. Like all of your parents, like if your parents went to school or college back in the day, they would always tell you, it's like, I worked a part-time job and I went to school and they made enough to pay for college, which is incredible. When my mom was in nursing school, she worked in the library. I'm like, what? And I'm like, how? That doesn't make any sense. How'd you pay for college and school with that? She's like, you made enough. She had an apartment. And then before that, she would just live with her parents, which is what you normally do. But thinking of like people say, oh, yeah, I have a part-time job and I pay for college. You can't do that now. You need at least 3 part-time jobs to even consider possibly paying for your college if it's a cheap college. And it's crazy to think about. Because that's why I thought it's funny when you see them like boomers like back in my day. It's like, bro, it's not the same. Cost is completely different now.
It's definitely not the same. And one of the things that people are like around boomer time, around was it our parents' generation is called the Generation X. I believe that's
Yes.
what they're called. Um, they don't realize the amount of strain now that we have financially compared to back then. Back then, for example, you came to this, let's say you were an immigrant, you came to this country, you still had opportunity to grow, over time. You probably I don't know, worked at your local supermarket for 5, 10 years. Next thing you know, you're putting a down payment on a house that now costs about, due to inflation in the housing market, probably about 800K, right? For example, my grandfather bought this house that I live in now. He bought this house for 50K, right? And that was back only in 1993. Bought this house for 50K. This house is now worth 925,000. Right? That's crazy, right?
Inflation.
That's crazy. Now, if I decide to buy the same house here, right, I have to come up with $975,000, right? Like, and me and him have this back and forth when it comes to money and stuff like that. He always say this. No, well, I kid you not. It was this is what I used to do, and he always does his eye thing. I don't know why he does that, but he's like, this is what I used to do. I used to work at Sears, right? I used to work at Sears, and at every single paycheck, I put like about $50 away. Right? I put about $50 away, and over time, that $50 I put for the down payment for the house. How long did it take you to do that? Took me about 7 years. Yo, if you say $50 a month, right? Right now, the most in 7 years you can afford is probably a one-bedroom apartment for 2 months. like, like it is. No, no, we're just no. And people have to understand that is that although you may have struggled more in regards to the fact that we have internet and we have more opportunity, right, to make more money, you got to realize that with that opportunity, there's a whole bunch of no's, a whole bunch of no's, right? In which, a job needs about 32 years of experience to get an entry level position, right? Bro, I was flabbergasted when I got out of college. I have a degree in business, and people that would mostly hire me without the experience that I'm asking for, right? Is sales, people in sales. Like, hey, we go door to door selling electricity. That's not what I got my degree. I wanted to chill out. That's all. I went on Indeed, and that's all and they try to word it. They try to word it differently, right? Sales consultant. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna consult some shit, right? Cool, right? And then, what's crazy? There was like earns up to, right, and this is how they get you, earns up to 25 an hour. I'm like, yo, I never
Pretty damn good.
I never even seen 25 a day. So let me go here and apply to them and see what happens, right? I get there, motherfuckers is like, yeah, we pay based off commission. I'm like, okay, that's kind of good. So that means I get money and then more money on top of that, right? No, 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 no. If you make more commission than you do minimum, the wage we have, then that's your pay. The minimum wage, if you don't make that much commission, your minimum wage is what we pay. The minimum wage right now is in Massachusetts is about $11 now. That was the biggest bullshit when we graduated. No joke. Exactly, and these salespeople target people out of college because they know they don't know better. They just want to make money right now. You know.
And that vicious cycle where it's like, hey man, so what we're looking for is 2 to 5 years of experience. All right, I hear you. But in order to get that experience, I need to be hired. I understand that, but we'll hire you when you get the experience. It's like, but bro, I need a job. It's like, I understand that. We know. And it's like, tell you what, you can get us coffee. We won't pay you, but we'll count it as experience. And then we'll pick you up later, and they'll work you, and then they'll give you like, oh, we'll work with you for like 3 months, and we'll see if it works out or doesn't work out. And then it's like, all right, we really like your work, we really like your drive, but you're not what we're looking for. But thanks for getting us coffee. And then you're like, bro, what the fuck? And they use you, bro. That shit is not funny.
Yep. Yep. Oh
And
my
like the
god.
other standard was back in the day when our parents went to school, like bachelor's was a golden ticket. You had a bachelor's degree, that's a golden ticket to get a solid job.
Yep.
Now they're like, all right, what else you got? It's like, bro, what? What do you mean? It's,
Shit. But I mean, it's kind of understandable. It's the whole economic thing, supply and demand. because more people are going to college now, right? So the bachelor's degree is losing value into what it actually is, right? You did 4 years, you probably paid thousands of dollars to get there, and everybody, like, we're at a point now where you and most of the kids in your neighborhood are college graduates, right? So when that happens, when that happens, now it's like, damn, the whole market is flooded with all these bachelor's degrees. We're gonna need more now, right? John says, best you can do is pray for an interview and pray and listen to you instead of read the resume. That's definitely
Yeah.
right. Um, People, one thing also, this is just a tip for those who go for salary jobs and stuff like that. Uh, you can negotiate your salary. Just remember that if it's a salary position, you can negotiate your salary. If it says, hey, we'll pay you, and this is just entry level, we're paying you 44,000, and then you could be like, but this is what I do, this is what I have, this is what I did, da 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 da. I think I deserve about 46 instead of 44 or something. I deserve 46, right? And if they don't want you, all right, fine. Just the one thing you don't want to always show is that you don't have any other options, right? You don't want to be anxious, be like, I'll take it, but you definitely want that. But that leads now into the cost of college. So we now established that our parents didn't have to pay what we got to pay, right? When they pay for student loans, at most they had 2K, right? For a private, you can go to UPenn for 2K, $2,000 back then, right? We went to Chestnut Hill, me and Jared here, right?
What were they, like 35? And that's if you weren't like living on campus and all the other
See
fees.
what I'm talking about? When you weren't living on campus for college, it was about 35K, right? And about some of that, and they don't tell you this about it in school and senior year and all that stuff. They just tell you to sign the papers. You don't know about the subsidized and unsubsidized loans, right? So you're thinking in your head, oh, I don't have money coming out my pocket for college because it says my financial aid covers it, right? But then after you graduate, the government's like, hey, we paid for your shit. You gotta give us back the money,
With
right?
interest.
With interest, right? And you're like, huh? How I gotta pay you back if my financial aid covered it? Oh, you're talking about the subsidized and unsubsidized loans that were in the financial aid, which I don't think that should be in it. I don't think any type of loan should be within the financial aid package, right? Because the government's gonna give you the shit regardless. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it should be its own separate entity. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but college gets more expensive. Me personally, I had to pay an extra 10K to live on campus. So I have student loans, private student loans. That's 10K. Right, that's about 50, that was 50,000 when I got out, right? And that's the private loan. The government loans was about 60, 65, right? Thank God I work in healthcare. There's another thing. If you work for a nonprofit and you engage yourself into a repayment plan with the government, after 10 years, or AKA 120 payments, which is 1 month, 12 months, 10 years, the rest of your loan is forgiven after those 120 payments. So no matter what, right now, and don't tell nobody, but right now, I only pay $0 in my student loan for the government loan, right? Because I make under a certain amount, right? Last year, for some reason though, I was paying like $400. I don't know what changed with the government. I don't know what, but loan forgiveness is definitely your friend. I said only two in life are guaranteed: death and
Yep.
taxes. Damn.
And also, if you have to get loans, try your hardest. And I mean your hardest as much in government loans as possible because those private guys are vampires and they will, oh my God, they are the dirtiest motherfuckers. Their interest rates are criminal and all the methods and tactics they do to get you to pay is ridiculous. They're not regulated. They should be regulated, but they're not. And they do some of the dirtiest tricks to get money out of you. If you
Legit.
can, government loans as much as you can out of the government. Avoid private at all costs. Take as little out as you can from them. They're gonna get you.
That's facts. That's facts. But let's say, all right, so we're going into loans. So this is one of the biggest things is credit, right? So with loans, right, your interest rate is determined by your credit, how much credit you have to your name, what's your credit score, what's your credit life, everything like that, right? Um, Hold on. John says, so true. Third part, college loans worse than shady loan sharks. Damn. Damn.
It's true.
That is correct though. Um, so this is something that, you know, we grew up on is I don't know if everybody had these parents, but your parents often told you stay away from credit cards, right? Like credit cards are evil, credit cards will put you in so much debt, everything like that. They did their best to like put in your head, do not get credit cards, right? Then I had a friend that had about 18 credit cards.
Damn.
And I'm like, bro, you in so much debt? Right? He's like, no, I pay it off every month. I'm like, what do you mean you pay it off every month? He's like, yeah, I'd probably buy like $5 worth of coffee and then I pay it off right there. Boom. I don't owe nobody. I'm like, is that easy? He's like, yeah. I was like, what? So I decide when I'm 21 now, right? When I was 21, let me go apply for a credit card, right? Got denied immediately. Why? Because I didn't know like certain credit cards needed, you to have a certain score to sign up for it. So I of course went with a Capital One credit card, right? Simple. It's Journey. That's what it's called. Student Journey. Right, Capital One. It was easy because it's mostly for students, people who basically don't have a credit card. And I got my first credit card. Used it to buy. I forgot. It was some Wawa. Used it to buy some Wawa. Paid off the next day. Boom. Then owed them nothing. So every time my bill came, it said $0. I'm like, why the fuck was our parents scared of this? Right? Like, why were they afraid of this? Turns out it's because that motherfuckers kept buying shit, and then they waited till the bill at the end of the month and be like, oh, I can't believe I bought so much. Like they didn't monitor what they bought with it. So what ends up happening is they end up owing more than they can afford. Right? Credit cards are trying to do as much as they can to give you just a set limit based off your income, but sometimes it gets to a point where it's unmanageable if you do not keep your eye on it.
I mean, to be fair though, credit cards weren't really a thing when our parents, like even like before parents, they don't know what the hell a credit card was. And then it came out, they like came to the colleges and they didn't know what the hell it was. Like, hey man, this credit, it's got you can buy whatever you want with it. Here, just sign up for it. And they were like, okay. And like, by the way, you gotta pay this back. And they're like, huh? Don't worry about it. No, just sign up for the credit card. It's like, what'd you say? No, it's cool, bro. And then they went to the store, they bought cars, all the food they wanted, and then it's like, by the way, you owe us. And they're like, huh? And that's how you destroy and entrap an entire generation, bro.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But everything that always happens to you in regards to those kind of companies is always in writing.
Yeah.
Right? So that means you just didn't read the shit.
Read the fine print.
Right?
Rule number one.
I mean, as comparison, we did that shit while we were 18 going to college. You just heard sign this to get the loan to go to college and you're like, bet. And then you just didn't know that it was 10%, 15%. I don't know what student loan go that high, but 10%, 50%, 5%. You don't know about these percent things, right? You heard about them, but you don't really know about them. So when you sign it and it comes back after college that you owe this, this, and this because it accumulated over time, now it's like, damn. Because look, I forgot who it was. It was South Park. South Park made it this to what you're saying, John, about who reads the terms and conditions. South Park made an episode in which people ignored completely the terms and conditions.
Oh, the Apple
And,
one, right?
yeah, and it ended up being the human Sentai pad,
Yeah,
right?
that
Because they can tell you anything in there. You can literally say in the fine print, I sign over my life to this person forever, but you just want the new update. So you sign it. It's verified, right? Because you signed it. Now they own your life because you ain't read the shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a law against it, but I'm just saying. I mean, like that's why it's kind of dangerous. That's why the terms and conditions. I feel like they make them long so that people don't read them. Like, that's just how it is. Who the hell? It's probably it's about 5 minutes alone. Spends the whole time. Every time you even sign up for a new game, every time you play a new game, it says
Or terms and conditions.
EA terms and conditions. And what you do, you scroll to the bottom
Accept.
and press accept because they even try to make it so that way you don't press accept. You can't press accept unless you read everything. But they also know there's a skip function for that shit, right? Student loans is actually the same thing, right? When you sign up for a private loan, it says must read this, right? Must read this form, right? Zoom, accepted. I don't know what the fuck that form said, but give me my money. Like that's just how it is. John says our parents got killed with credit cards. We got killed with college debt. Only difference is that they can claim bankruptcy and in 7 years get their life back instead of us. But no, this is why I'm gonna explain the importance of credit, right? So I suggest, and I always suggest this: if you're 18 right now, right, and you're watching this, and you're 18, you're 19, you're young, I suggest you get your first credit card now, right? Your credit score is based off of how many on-time payments you have, how long you've had a credit history, the amount of credit available, right? The amount of accounts you have, and the amount of inquiries you have, right? And I'm gonna explain each one. So, the amount of credit available is, of course, how much money do you have access to. So, if you have a credit card that has 5,000 on it, like you can spend 5,000, that means your available credit is 5,000, right? So that's why people oftentimes accumulate more credit cards. That way, they have another card that's 5,000, another card that's 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. But all those cards on your report are combined into one, technically, right? So all that available credit is right there. So if you have a loan out for 10,000, but you have a credit card availability of 15,000, you're technically not in debt, right? Because you have available credit. Accounts is just based off of how many accounts do you have in your name, right? Bills, your credit cards, of course, loans. By the way, loans are contributed to your credit. As soon as you take out a loan with anybody, it's on your credit score. It counts as an account. The thing is, though, is that you have to make sure, number 4, that you pay them on time. Because you do not want a lot of late notices on your credit, because what a credit score ultimately is your credit score is telling the banks, the loan officers, all that stuff, you can trust me, right? That's it. You can trust me. You see how many accounts I have open, and I'm paying back each one of them. Trust, right? You see how often I pay. You see how sometimes I don't even carry a balance on them. That's trust, right? Because this comes in turn of the interest rate that you get with loans and things like that. The more trustworthy you are, the least amount of interest you'll get because they trust that you'll pay it back, right? This is an example. If I owe somebody $10, right, and I'm gonna just put a high interest rate, 50%, right? I owe somebody $10. I owe them 50% because they know for a fact they're not getting their money back, right? So I missed one payment. Now I owe $15, right? And this is where people get a little lost, right? That 50% isn't just to the $10; it's to whatever the amount is, right? So when I missed the payment and with the interest up, now my account is owed $15, right? But then 50% of 15 is 7.5. So now it goes up instead of 5, it goes up by 7.5, right? Now it's 22.5, right? Like that compounded interest, like the amount that you owe is what is reflected on the interest. But if I'm a trustworthy person and I get a low amount, like 2%, right? Or even let me put it a little bit higher because I did 50% that time. If it's like 10%, which is $1, right? That means I'm only charging you 10% because I know you're gonna give me back the money anyway. So now I'm just like, here, here's $11. You know you can trust me. They're like, bet, I know I can trust you. Like, there you go. That's how credit affects your interest rates. Is you're gonna pay less over time, immensely too. Oh my god! And when I say immensely, it's immense. That's all. I'm saying.
And also be aware of like if you have the app for your credit card, especially, or you go on their websites, they say, "Oh, minimum payment is like $25." Pay more than the minimum. Minimums will get you in trouble so quickly because a lot of the times the interest on your credit card or your loan, whatever you have, is going to outweigh your minimum, and you will never get out of that cycle. I just constantly throwing on the minimum. It's like, but my loan keeps going up. Got to pay more than the minimum. Always pay more.
Legit. Let's see. A 50% interest rate doesn't make a difference if you pay it off quick enough. Also though, that's
True.
true. If you're trustworthy, and this is why I would say this too. This is the next step, right? But to address John, a 50% interest wouldn't matter if you're paying it completely off, right? Not that you're paying it off, but you're paying it completely off, right? Because that's what matters. Is you got to make sure you do not have a balance in order to not feel that 50%, right? But this is where I go to the second step: refinance, right? So say you started off with no credit, with bad credit, right? You had to take out a loan. Let's say it's for school. Let's say it's for family, right? And the interest rate was 10%. What you can do if you had, let's say, a score of 600, a credit score of 600, credit score goes up to 850. If you had a credit score of 600, right? And let's say 2 years later you have a credit score of 770, right? What you can do is refinance that loan you took out when you was at 600, and what that ultimately does is you took out a loan to pay off that loan, right? But now the loan you took out, now this one here, this new one, is at a lesser percentage than the one before. Example: when I got my car, right, my credit score was 715, right? I had an interest rate of 8.97%, right? Only because this was my first big purchase, everything like that. Um, but it was decent, right? A year later, I finally got to 780, and I refinanced the car. And now that 8.97 is now down to 3.78. That's almost basically triple, or one third, let me say that, one third of the interest I was originally paying. And that's only because I made sure to refinance after my credit score increased a good amount. Uh, but that's the tip on credit, is that you guys want to build it up. If you can build it up now, right? Build it up while you're young, so that way when you're 30, 35, 40, and you're trying to buy a house, you get the lowest interest rate possible. That way your mortgage ain't fucking shitty.
True. True. But I mean, also, you just got to also be aware of how much you're making versus how much you charge to your card is actually a very important thing. If it's like, oh, every month my payment on my credit card is like $500. It's like, bro, first of all, you're putting way too much on that. You don't have the income to match how much you got to pay down. Be aware of that because then you get this deficit, and then it's like, oh my god, how am I going to deal with this? Be aware of your income, your costs, all your bills, and how much you can afford to put on it. So, like, go home, make an Excel sheet, and it's like, all right, car, if you have an apartment, rent, utilities, snacks, food, gas. And it's like, all right, I make this much. After I pay all that, I have this much. And it's like, okay, I have $750 left over. And it's like, all right, well, I got to pay 800 on my credit card. You're messing up. You're putting way, you're messing up. You're putting too much of a deficit.
That's true.
You gotta wean off of that because eventually you're gonna get caught in the loop where it's like your credit card's going higher and higher and higher. You're not paying it off enough, and it's like, what am I gonna do? Don't want to have to get in that situation. Be aware of your income versus how much you have to pay and can pay.
And legit, my tip: if you're gonna get a credit card, make sure you get a credit card that, of course, uses points,
Cashback.
cash back, because and this is the tip that my friend with the 18 fucking credit cards told me about. He said, never touch your debit card. Never touch your bank account, right? Everything is charged to the credit card, right? And but as Jared said, you gotta make sure, of course, you can afford whatever you're buying. But everything you would charge to your credit card that you can afford, because if let's say what's the PS5 now, right?
It's
Say
like what, it's 500, but it's probably like after taxes.
500 taxes, probably 575, right? What you got to make sure is that if you have the 575 or the 600 with you, right? You have it in my pocket. I'm about to buy this PS5, right? Charge it to your credit card, right? As soon as you charge it to the credit card, right? And most of the time, credit card companies have these apps that you can check your balance and things like that, or anything pending. Uh, Pay it off right there, right? You see, it says pending, $575. You already had $575 in your debit card. Boop boop, boop boop. Now, not only did you just pay off the credit card and don't owe nobody, but now you get points back for buying the PS5. Hold on. All right. John says, got to be careful with that though, because that restarts the payments. You could refinance the 5 year note for you could refinance that 5 year note for another 5 years, even if it's a lower monthly. Just be diligent and keep paying what you used to, and you save more in interest and pay it off. So most definitely, most definitely, because that's the thing I didn't mention, and thank you, John, for that. Is that I still pay the monthly payments I use for my car, right? Before it was 300. Right now it's 215 a month, but I still pay 300, right? So I'm paying it off a whole lot faster than I normally did before, right? So it's on a 7 year term, right? And according to compound interest and all, I'm able to pay it off within 4.5. They said. I'm not sure though, because I ain't gonna take their word for it. Because you know what they want? They want more money. But but um, my calculation was about 5.5 instead of 7. But they said 4, so I ain't gonna. I got my own degree. But it's definitely credit cards are no joke though. No, there's no game behind it. You just have to be smart with what you do with it. Um, but if you're trying to establish assets and things like that, you definitely want to start building up your credit. Um, some companies, I'm not sure how many, but some companies let you put your children's credit on their name on your credit card and things like that as a user. And what you do, if you're good with your money though, if you're good with your money, because yo, when I say there is too much people that I know personally that say my mom put me on a damn electric bill when I was 5. I'm like, first of all, how the fuck the government gonna allow shit like that? Where you 5 years old, like you born, like I'm born '95, so you out here in 2000, like you owe Comcast at the time, you owe Comcast $75. Now you got like 20 years of late fees, right?
Oh my!
And then the bill collector calling you like, hey, we gotta mess up your wages a bit because
I'm
your ass.
12. What you mean?
Because that's the worst thing is when parents use their children's name to to put their name on something because their credit was bad, right? And then have to go have the nerve to be like, that's my child. They owe me anyway. First of all, your child don't owe you shit. All right, you decided to bring the child in the world. All right, so they ain't asked to be here. But besides that point, credit is definitely important. But let's go into my big baller right here. Let's go into stocks and forex. Uh, but first, John says this: kids' names on credit cards don't affect credit if it is for an authorized user. But yeah, if it's in their name, then yeah, they be fucked.
Destroy your kid's life. Don't do that, please. If you're gonna have kids,
Definitely
don't do.
not. Don't mess up any payments. Don't mess up any payments. Oh my god, it's definitely a bad hit, especially for the kid that's just now starting out and things like that. But we're gonna me and Jared we're gonna be talking about our journeys in regards to saving and stock markets and forex and things like that. Um, yeah, you can start this one off.
Stocks, magic money, as I like to call it, because it's not physical, but it's there. So, first of all, basically, stocks are essentially parts of a company that you can buy. Depending on the size of the company, there's more stocks available. So, like a company like Apple, I don't really know offhand. It's probably a couple, probably close to a billion or something like that. Whatever. But the stock value depends on, I guess, what I mean. I don't really know that personally, but basically, it's like what the company's invested in, what they're doing. So when you're picking a company to buy stocks in, one, you need to make sure it's a stable company. Like if you just notice, oh, Bob's Technology just pops up randomly, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna buy the Bob's. Well, what is Bob's doing? Are they investing in like cheap ass gaming controllers that are breaking the day? Or are they making hard drives? Are they investing in CPUs? What are they doing? So, for instance, one great stock to have is Apple. Everyone knows about Apple. Apple's one of the most popular brands that are out there. They're a stable company because they're always growing. So, you know, it's not a bad investment, especially because every year they make a new phone, air quotes, that's basically the same but has slight differences. So, you know, that stock's going to be pretty stable. Even if it doesn't spike, their stock is at least going to have that nice slow climb. Might dip a little sometimes, but Apple's very stable.
Okay, okay. Shoot. Yeah. So as Jared said, stocks is basically owning parts of a company. So basically, the value fluctuates over time. Uh, the one thing you do got to look out for is your stock a builder? Are they improving every year? Uh, is the mission the same? Things like that. One of the biggest things for me personally when it came to stocks is that, I never, you know, let's say this, right? Junior year in college, I had about $5 to my name, right? Like there were some days, right? I didn't have any money at the time, and like my grandfather was doing his best to make sure I got something. But there were times where, let's say there was like a holiday break, you know what I'm saying, and I was stuck on campus. I didn't have $1, right? So sometimes like I just sit there on campus, just like play video games, so I'm not hungry, right? Like that was me at one point, and and the crazy part is, and I didn't even notice, is that my grandfather growing up, because he was the one that adopted me and took care of me. He's the one that was working part time. He was working part time taking care of me. I didn't even know. I thought this man was working full time till I grew up, and I was like, hold up, why is this man always home on Thursdays and Fridays? Like, I'm like, hold up, no, something's wrong. So let me just get you out the way, sir. so so uh, so something about money. I never expected myself to even have more than $2,000. If anything, this how desperate I was for money to call my own. Is that there was a time I worked in my local corner store, and I was getting paid about $400 a week, right, around a week. But I worked in the corner store 12 hours a day every day. That's highway robbery. That's highway robbery, bro. That's highway robbery. But I didn't care because I saw the $400 and I was like, "Oh, I'm a big baller now. I'm a big baller now." And then now, bro, I just spent $400 on a damn elliptical machine, right? And I'm like, I could pay that off tomorrow. Like I thought I was a baller back then. But here's the issue, right? When I didn't have anything, I wanted to learn how I could make more money, right? So I started to somewhat invest in the stocks. Failed immensely. I lost more money than I gained because my dumbass just went like, "I'm gonna buy this because it looked good." And even worse is I tried to trade penny stocks. Penny stocks are of course anything that's basically a lower value of what, $5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're a gamble, but
yeah,
I mean, all stocks are a gamble, but
yeah. So I wanted to get rich quick, basically, right? And I failed immensely. I like sometimes I'll put $20 in, Next thing I know, I wake up the next morning and my $20 is worth $2. I'm like, how the fuck did that shit happen? If I put $20 in, nobody told me I was about to lose all my money like that, and it's only because I invested in the wrong, not only the wrong stocks, penny stocks, stocks that change more than anybody. They're very volatile, right? So I took a break. I took a break from sharing from stocks, and then my friend John, he's here in the chat. My friend John came to me. He noticed that I had interest in stocks and investment, so he was teaching me forex. Right, forex trading is trading foreign exchange, aka the value of one currency versus another. Uh, kind of like this. Kind of like this. If and I can't get too much into detail, John, because it's so long to explain. But it's the same as say this, and I'm gonna put it in simple terms. Say I make a bet that the U.S. dollar is gonna be worth this much with the Japanese yen, right? It's kind of like a bet, kind of. But and in stocks we call these trade options too, right? So basically, I say, hey, it's gonna go up, right? The U.S. Let's make them flat. For every $1, you get 100 Japanese yen. Let's compare it like that, right? So I say the value of the dollar is gonna go up, right? So what happens is with that bet is as it goes up, the money I put as a bet basically increases, right? Increases as it's going up. However, if I said it's going up and it goes down, that money decreases in value. Not only decreases, right? But your ass start losing the money. Right? It don't hit zero. It don't hit zero. No. That just says negative, right? Your ass losing the money. But it's definitely a market in which you need to study or else you will lose quickly. Right? I in Forex I lost more than gained immensely. Right? And that's only because I didn't put too much time into it. Right? I looked at things like I just go in now. I didn't know you had to time it to go in. You have to make sure that you enter a good spot to do your trade. Because sometimes you could say it's going to go up and you could be right. But what you don't know is that it went up only this much. Right? So even though you were right, next thing you know, that should drop down. Right? Because you were right. Don't get me wrong, you were right. But you didn't know how high that would go. Now, if you said it was go up and you waited until it dropped here, right, and then started to put your trade here, then if you said it went up, next thing you know, you just made a shit ton of money. All you see on Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff are those traders that can make, and I've seen this personally, that can make $10,000 within an hour. I don't know how the fuck they do their taxes, but but they be making $10 an hour. I remember one motherfucker, right? He went to Cancun or some shit with his girlfriend, paid all expenses, like he just here, take my money. Came back home, went to the market, made that shit back. I'm like, all right, bro. But the one thing I do not like, and it's a gamble. Market's a gamble. The only thing I don't like about Forex now, compared to when I was learning from John, is now people are like, hey, pay $300 for this class. My lead or something is a stage 2 Taurus with horns behind his head or something like that, and he got a gold belt and what the fuck. and if you don't know what Forex is, you're like, a gold belt and what the fuck? Oh shit, maybe I could be a gold belt. Yeah, he got a Lamborghini. He got a Lamborghini for his Lamborghini. Like, oh, for real? Like, you know what I mean? But they never asked, how much did you make though? Nah, my boss, no, how much did you make? Right? I know great Forex dealers and traders. Right? I know what they're about. they actually offer shit for free, right? Because when you learn certain things and you have friends and things like that, you will teach them for free because you did not like you look out for those that you consider dear, right? What do you look like charging your friends something that they can learn from you for free and grow with you? That just doesn't make sense, in my opinion. To join this class, no, 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 no. You teach me. You my teacher, right? You don't even. I don't even need to sit. I don't even need to sit with you for 2 hours. No, no, no. Every time we talk on the phone, just let me know.
We take your bicycle outside.
Yeah,
We take your bicycle outside, not the yard.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. Let's see. Hold on. John says, "Yep, MLMs have killed learning and trade in lieu of learning to sell a package." Yeah, no, it's like forex is now becoming, in my opinion, like a scam, basically. And it's not a scam; it's a valid trading platform and all. But it's just that the people who are trying to spread the knowledge are just they're looking for their quick buck because more than likely, and that's why I always say that more than likely, right? They ended up losing some money somewhere too. So they're taking your money and putting it into their account, right? But that's forex though. It's nothing bad about forex. Like I said, I know a lot of people that make thousands of dollars on forex, right? If you are trying to get into forex, I want you to do as much research as you can, as much as you can, because you ain't. If you don't understand what's going on, you're done, right? But stocks, this is my personal. This is this is my personal. But I'm gonna have to get up real quick, so I'm gonna have Jared talk to you guys for a bit about his personal journey with the stock market. Go ahead, Jared.
All right. So I kind of got interested in stocks midway through college. One of my cousins who I talked to a lot in Canada, he kept telling me, he's like, hey, look, it's like you just get a little bit of money, you invest it, find something that's stable, and it'll build off and build up. So originally, I bought Apple back in college. I think I bought their stocks where they were in the 60s, and now Apple stocks are worth like, I think like 135. So I had a decent amount of growth. That's over 50%. So you can invest in stocks and make a decent amount of money. But one thing you have to remember is stocks very, very rarely are instant money or instant cash outs. That does not generally happen. Very, very few have just suddenly exploded. It's like, oh, well, I just made $50,000. I'm rich. That doesn't generally happen. It's a waiting game. It's a slow climb to getting gains and profits. You will also lose money. For instance, one of the things I invested in college was a movie pass. I'm sure you heard of it. It was like, oh, you pay this amount a month, then you get to see this amount of movies for free, and everyone can just get them. And everyone loved movie pass. I had stocks in movie pass. If you don't know what happened to movie pass, they went bankrupt. So I lost. I actually didn't invest that much because I invested in them when they were kind of going downhill, when they were like in danger. So I was like, all right, I'll buy some stocks. So if you look up their stock now, their stocks are worth, I think, 0.01. So it's not even worth a penny right now. So if you had a lot of money in Movie Pass, you have unfortunately lost a lot of money. But on the other hand, there has been talks of someone potentially buying them. Now it's been like over a year, but they're still kind of floating around. Their stock kind of fluctuates a little bit, but it's still like nothing. So potentially, if someone does buy them, they might shoot back up and it'll be stable again. Or they could just completely go kaput and it's like, oh, your money's gone. Sorry, it happens. Stocks are always a gamble. How much they grow depends on what the company's doing, and it'll go up a little sometimes. Sometimes it'll go down a little. Basically, like waves constantly. But depending on what the company does will depend on their growth. So, for instance, Tesla split. I think it was about what was it? Tesla split what 3 months ago?
Yeah, in August around that.
Yeah. So at that point, people are like, "Oh no, I lost money." It's like, no, bro, this is good because you know Tesla's a solid company. Elon is always talking mad trash about, "Oh, we're doing this, we're gonna be doing this, we're investing in this." You know their stock's gonna go back up. So at the time, I think what were they at like in the 700s? I think when they split.
When they split,
Yeah, I think so.
When they split, the price
Was it?
was
No.
around 2K.
Okay, I was way off. First of all.
My bad, yo. My elliptical arrived,
Oh,
and that motherfucker heavy. I had to carry that shit up the stairs. Like, that's a two-person job, though. So I had to push it up the stairs like this. Oh, God.
so they split, and some people panic and sold, and it's like, no, what are you doing? Hold on to it because it dropped. It split. It dropped, and then as we see now today, it's climbing. It's climbed way back up, and your money has gone up quite nicely. So just because your stock is dropping does not mean you should panic sell, unless like something catastrophic happens. Like if they're like, oh, yo, Elon Musk has like a child trafficking ring. Like, oh, hell, get out, company's done, get out, leave. That's when you bounce. But as
Yeah.
long as it's not catastrophic, I know that's over here. That's an extreme situation that'll very likely not happen.
First of
But
all, first of all, that man ain't having no trafficking because that man's kid name is a whole code.
it's
Okay,
hilarious.
it don't even got no letters. That man's name is like that shit is crazy. But oh man, I'm tired, dog. Oh, that thing took so yo. Okay, so first things first. All right. Those who know me, if they know me, I started off $7 and like 3 cents, right, in the stock market, right? Which, by the way, shows you that you do not need hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to get started. Stocks are literally worth $6, $7. Hell, if you feel like you're about to order a pizza just because you want to, go buy a share of Ford or something, right? So first things first, I did not want to risk much because I didn't have much money to really want. Like if I lost $50, I'd cry, dog. Like during that time, like oh my god, I lost $50. I don't know how. That's definitely that is definitely gonna be one of the cases, when you first start out. But as time went on, I started to make a lot better choices, but I also made safer choices because I started to put all my money into dividend stocks. What dividend stocks do depends on their thing, but it's mostly quarterly. Every 3 months, they pay you a set amount for the amount of shares you have, right? So for Ford around the time, it was 15 cents a share. Ford around the time was also about $10 a share, right? So for every $10, you technically got back 15 cents. And it's not like, oh, I got back 15 cents into my portfolio. No. Ford sent you that money. It was raw money. It was like, go spend it. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the money they sent you. And of course, the more that you have of a dividend stock, the more, of course, they're going to send you. So I was like, oh, if I ever get to like 10,000 shares of Ford or something, I'm going to be rich. Every 3 months, I'm going to pay like $500. You know what I mean? But then my friend John Tran, there's another John. John Tran said, bro, around the time, you're like 22. Go buy some shit. If you lose the money, you can get it back probably next week. I'm like what? You knew me. We not for the same world. But I was like, all right. So I started investing in Tesla. Tesla was about $240 something. I was like, okay, let me invest in some Tesla, right? Tesla shot up like $50. I was like, bet I'm taking that money, $50, boom, right? And then Tesla started to gain more ground. It was like $500. So I was like, well, it's probably gonna still go up. Put more, get all my money, put it back in Tesla. Tesla then drops down to another $300. So now I just lost $200 per share on Tesla. I'm like, damn. I'm like having a mini heart attack. Like, what happened to my money? You know what I'm saying? So I sold. This is where panic selling happens. I sold the money, right? Around that time, I think I had about 5 shares of Tesla around that time. So it was my first $1,000 that I touched from the stock market. And I lost probably, I think it was like $400 or so. It was like 400, 300. And I panic sold but the thing I didn't know was that if you panic sell, once you sell it, that's when you decided you lost the money. So you lost the money there. If you decide not to sell, you never lose the money. Because remember, the money that you put in is now of value. You have to keep that value in the whole entire time. You know what I'm saying? So if you sell, whatever the value's at, that's the money you got now, right? If you decide to sell at panic sell like I did, you just officially force yourself to lose money. Now, if I had kept it in, here comes Tesla. Not even 2 weeks later, $700. I was like, damn, I could have made that much money, right? So I decided, let me go into Tesla again, right? I already lost my money. I'm like, damn, let me not panic sell no more. Elon Musk says, and I quote, Tesla shares are too high. Boom, Tesla drop. Boom. I'm like, all right, bro.
Everybody was
You
mad,
fucked
bro.
me up. You fucked me up. So I'm like, all right, this man is clearly deranged. I gotta take my loss again, right? I took my loss again. Next thing I know, right, and this is all during the pandemic now, Tesla shoots up to about $1,400. And I said, you know what? Stop panic selling completely. Elon Musk is a fucking genius. So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna all in on Tesla right now. $1,400. Next thing I know, it gets to 2K. 2K then splits. I think it was a 1 in 5 split. And next thing you know, was it 1 in 5? I think it was 1 in 5. 1 in 5 or 1 in 4. One of the two. Next thing you know, Tesla's about $300 when I wake up. I'm like, okay, I know what the splits are. Tesla continues to still grow after that. It actually has doubled since then. Right? The stock share actually has doubled since then. The stock share is about $610 now compared to that 200 something. 1 in 5. Yep, 1 to 5. So not only do you have, and let me just explain the stock splits just real quick. If I have one share of a $2,000 stock, so one, like as you guys can see, like these are two hands. If you have one share of a $1,000 stock, right, and then it splits into 5, all you're doing is taking that $1,000 and just splitting it up. So now that one becomes 5, but add them all together, they equal that 1. Right, that's all it is. So $1,000, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's all it is. Right, so don't panic sell when you see shit like that happen. Right, that just means you just got awarded more shares. You never lost the value. Right, but eventually I get to the point now where I'm like, yo, I'm in Tesla long term. I do my research on Tesla. Tesla's not just a car company. It's basically everything solar. You got SpaceX going into fucking space. Right, you got all that happening, and because of that, because I decided, you know what, I'm young, I could take risks, but I also could take a smart risk, right? I've made 93% of my all-time, deposits. So let me see if you guys can see this. So it's a little bright.
99.5.55.
Yeah. So the total I have now, and this is only because Tesla dipped, right? Because Friday, I was in the 10,000s. I was actually at 10,500. But I've invested about four to 5,000. I've invested about $5,000, right, altogether, and I've made $4,814 from that $5,000. But the issue is, I do a 20% rule, right? 20% rule. Every check I get from my job, every check, I put 20% of it in my accounts. I split it up 10 ways, though. I split it up. 10% goes to savings, which is immediate money. So in case an emergency happens right now, I have money. And then I do another 10% to Tesla or whatever stocks, I decide to invest in. I always recommend saving 20% of your check to the side, right, for investments and savings. Now, if you can afford it, you could do 30%. You could do 50%. You could do 10. You could do 5. You could do 2. As long as you're putting something to the side, because as time goes on, here's the thing about compound interest. I think the stock market averages around 10% interest every year, right? So you're growing the money you put in, 10% every year. It's gonna keep building, building, building. Remember we talked about loans. If you had an uncontrollable loan, it'll keep building, building, building. Think of the same thing, but now you getting paid that same thing. So now you the loan company, right? And you making that interest from that money. You know what I'm saying? And the biggest part about it, the biggest part about it is, hey Rock, appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. Uh, thank you, my little helper for the raid. The biggest part about that though is just to make sure that you make sure like tomorrow you're set, next week you're set, next month you're set. Because here's the big issue: is that a lot of people do not have something saved up in case of emergencies, right? If you're a family home, God forbid, if your family home were to catch on fire right now, do you have any money saved up to, you know, to go get a hotel, things like that? You don't. I'm not gonna say most. I think it is actually most. I think it's like 40%. 40% of people don't have that much money saved up. Most people don't even have. I think it's $1,000, $2,000 even saved up. So you definitely want to save up your money, and you definitely want to make sure you're in a better situation. I'm in my 20s. I'm now mid 20. I'm old. I'm 25. And what my goal is overall in regards to like the stocks and stuff like that is just to make sure when I'm 35, I'm not out here running around like, damn, I gotta learn how to save money. I gotta save money. I probably have a kid by then, so then I gotta be like, damn, I gotta get a damn fund for my kid. I'm not gonna. No. That ain't gonna be me. That ain't gonna be me. My ass is gonna be like, I'm gonna be looking at everybody else like, yeah, y'all wish y'all listened to me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Also, if you try to make some money, don't bet on the lottery. The odds of you winning the lottery are less than you getting struck by lightning. So it's better just walk around in the field and maybe you get struck by lightning. But odds of winning the lottery, not great. Don't bet on that as being your lifesaver. You can play the lottery your entire life and never win. And some people are just like, hey man, I'm gonna just buy a ticket. And it's like, hey, now you're a millionaire. It's random, it's chance. Don't bet on that. And if you do ever win the lottery, please don't go broke in 3 years. I don't understand. Like people say, oh, they just spend money. I'm like, but I don't get that. If I have $30 million, I'm not burning $30 million. Like investments, pay off your debts, and chill. Because if you have, I don't know, say you're like, all right, I'm gonna take $25 million and I'm gonna put that in the bank. I'm gonna play around with this 5 million. Like that's your fun money. That's your, I don't know, buy a house money. That 25 million, especially if it's an interest account, it should be. It's gonna sustain itself and keep growing. And that 5 million you took out, that should last you like 10 years, easy. It's $5 million.
Just, just for
Don't
perspective, too.
party. Don't buy Lambos. Don't buy 5 houses. Don't waste it on drugs. That's stupid. Too many people have won the lottery and it's like, oh, they broke. How? How? What are you doing?
I think that has to go with human nature. We tend to overindulge ourselves. I ain't gonna lie. When I first got my job, bro, I bought like 3 new TVs. I was like I'm a baller, and then I realized, oh shit, I ain't got no money right now. But look. But this I could actually plead testimony to this. So my boy Kevin Sin now. This is Kevin now. This is another Kevin though. Not the one y'all know as Log, but this is my other friend Kevin Sin. The guy who put me onto like Robinhood and things like that. He is 25 as well. He has just received, I think he just got about $325,000 now in the stocks, right? And he always gives me tips and tricks and things like that. And one thing he told me is like, say he holds Tesla for a year, right? Holds it for a year, doesn't sell. If he takes out $40,000 right now, he doesn't pay taxes on it because that's the cap, 40,000. 40,001 and above, you gotta pay taxes. But 40,000, you don't gotta pay taxes, right? So what he wants to do, because he already has 300K. So what's gonna happen is, if he wants to, he'll take out 40,000 a year. That 260,000 is still gonna accumulate over time. That what he has left, it probably is gonna hit the 300K mark again. Right? So not only does he get 40K worth of free money now, but then his money goes right back to fucking where it was. I'm like, damn, bro, you ain't gonna lend me $1, but not, and I ain't gonna say nothing about that. I ain't gonna say but you guys definitely want to make sure that you guys are financially secure. If you want any tips and tricks on how to be financially secure for your future, you just hit me up on the Instagram down at the bottom. But again, if you're around the age of 18, 25, I suggest you, if you don't have a credit card right now, if you don't have any credit right now, start looking that up. Start making sure you build that up. Because again, when you want to buy a house, when you want to buy a new car, all that stuff, you got to make sure that interest rate is really, really low. But yeah, so that is it for the financial talk. Next week, we may go into something a little more controversial. It may involve men and women. May not. It's gonna definitely involve them. It's gonna have opinions that people will not like. I can tell you that. I can tell you that right now. It's gonna have opinions people will not like. But if you want to talk about it with us, just, you already know, every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Just remember, we're all respectful here. Even if we disagree, I ain't gonna yell at you. I ain't gonna call you stupid. I ain't none of that. No. Because understanding involves two people, not just one. All right. And always remember this: emotion is opinion. Right? Your opinion is based off your emotion. Right? It's not based off of fact. Right? Fact is based off of fact. So you can't get mad at fact. You just get mad that an opinion or your emotion has been called wrong. All right. Anything else left to say, Jared?
Don't fall for multi-level marketing. It's a scam. Like it only works if you get a bunch of people to work under you, and then if you don't, you broke. Not a good gamble. So like, what it like? They're like, oh, we sell energy drinks, and you pay us some money, and we give you the product, and then you tell 5 of your friends, hey man, sell energy drinks with me, and then they're all under you, and then a portion of what they make goes to you, and then you start making money. Like, nah, don't do that. It's a pyramid scheme. No, it's not. It's not worth it.
He's correct.
It very rarely works out. Very rarely. Those guys, because that's always the pitch. They always say it's like, I used to be just like you. I had my 9 to 5 job, and then I got into this, and then now I make over $200,000 a year. I go on like 5 vacations, and they always pitch that. If you've ever been invited to one, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. They pitch that same stuff over and over again. They're like, and it could be like, that could be you, and it's like, really? And then it's like, oh, bro, what the hell, man?
John says, great podcast to both of you. Thank you, John. Always appreciate you coming through, brother. Always appreciate you dropping the knowledge for us, too. Even though we talk about it, bro, we always got more to learn. Always got more to learn. You never, ever not become the teacher. The student. You are never not the student, all right? So again, guys, if you ever want to watch the podcast again, it'll be below in my VODs. If not here, then we're going to go on YouTube. I'm starting to post them on the YouTube after we get off here. Well, technically, I got to wait a day because of Twitch policy for affiliates. But we greatly appreciate you guys for coming through. And I hope you have a great day. And tune in tomorrow. That's it, not tomorrow. Tuesday. Oh, Christmas Eve. Tune in Christmas Eve for my stream. We're gonna be playing Cho'Gath. We're gonna be playing some whatever the fuck we want to play. Probably some zombies and stuff like that. But appreciate everybody for coming out, and we hope you have a great night.
Peace. Happy holidays.